Okay, this is a response to JewsForJudaism.org, a website that takes to task all of the alleged proofs of Jesus and his messiahship, if you will, and it even calls Christian apologists liars for proof texting. I noticed, however, in reviewing their site, which is very much, it's well developed, it's content rich, it's scholastic. They use language in remarkable manners, even alleging that if the prophecy of Daniel 9, for example, proved Jesus was the Messiah indeed, why did Paul or Peter not mention it? It's striking that they would say that, even taking to task Sir Robert Anderson's work in a book called The Coming Prince, and they challenge his interpretation of March 14th, 445 BC, that is Nehemiah's date, and the use of 483 prophetic years times a 360-day prophetic year day, that is 360-day prophetic year, to calculate 173,880 days. That's to the very day of the cutoff of Messiah. And that was quite a remarkable proof if you looked at it, and yet they took it to task, say in April 6, 32 AD and the March 14th, 445 BC. They even said, quoting them, getting past the Christian references to an imaginary prophetic year of 360 days and the manipulating of dates and numbers that add up to conflicting and competing calculations. And they go on with much more derogatory statements, and they should, according to their biased view and rejection of Jesus the Christ as the Messiah. It certainly is a large matter for them. I was surprised that they hinge so much on the 360-day prophetic year, especially when we have in Revelation a 1260 days when divided by 360 gives us the 3.5 years, which is mentioned. But again, that's not a proof for what they're refuting. It's just simply something for us in the New Testament to see that 360 days was established. John the Apostle was aware of it. And then we had Peter quoting Moses in Psalm 90. He was explaining the one day as 1,000 years. So now we have a 360-day prophetic year by John the Revelator. We have Peter speaking of one day as 1,000 years. So our math is now becoming available to set up our equation, and that formula that is in the Bible, that is not even, the degree of difficulty would not be beyond third grade arithmetic, which is very good because the proof itself is what's irrefutable. Taking this now and just being willing to do some arithmetic, we learn that 12,500 years times a 360-day prophetic year yielded 4.5 million days, which when multiplied by 1,000 years yielded 4.5 billion years, so that anyone who believes the doctrine of creation, and all Christians do, and people who believe the Bible as it's literally written and inspired for us, can now, with 6 literal days, proved by this information that is in the Bible, the historical holistic hermeneutic approach taught us at the Missionary Baptist Seminary invited the inclusion of all the information, and in this case, the numbers, the arithmetic. And this ratio is proven irrefutable in demonstrating that the 6 days of creation are literal, that we don't have to expand those to periods of time. We don't have to abandon the original creation, instant and spoken. That is, the spoken creation instantly, that occurred instantly before any time was involved of the heaven and the earth. So all space and matter, that original matter was instantly spoken into existence perfectly. We don't have to choose either young earth or old earth, knowing that something created by God and the way the earth rotates, which we've proven because of the ratio, the spherical reality of the earth. So flat or sphere is no longer it had no consequence or held no implication as far as Scripture. This is a demonstration of the very Messiah himself and teaches the doctrine of creation according to the Bible doctrine of time. So in JewsForJudaism.org, they make some very, one might consider it rude, but they were very consistent. They mock by accusing Christians of twisting scriptures. But the ratio in the scriptures, quoted and referenced in the New Testament itself, also irrefutable. So the 360-day prophetic year is proven with arithmetic. And then interesting, the science produced by theology, which originated from the Bible, the theologians that developed chemistry, calculus, and physics, those fields of theology, or branches of theology, I should say. There's one field of theology. These are branches, calculus, chemistry, and physics. Those fields of theology actually went further in developing a technology that measured the age of the earth to be 4.5 billion years, which is not the time of its origin, or that is, the time is not linear as the fields of science, that is, the branches of theology, calculus, chemistry, and physics do not assert that. And since time is not linear, and that's proven by those branches of theology, that field that was originated from the Bible. Interesting that now the age of the earth is determined by the branches of theology, physics, for example, and calculus, and they are directly correlate with the ratio in the scriptures, making an irrefutable argument from both the scriptures and the product of the scriptures, the branches of theology that originated from those theologians who studied the Bible. So it's quite a flaw. It's a missing element in Jews for Judaism, and it is something that they can't overcome this. That is, they can't refute physics, chemistry, and calculus. They can't question it. They can't question the results of those branches of theology, and they cannot, absolutely cannot, refute, negate, or disprove the direct and immediate correlation between the doctrine of relativity, which is a Bible doctrine. So the divine ratio, as that phrase has been coined and adamantly asserted, holds greater implication than the secondary matters that find so many preoccupied. So many people preoccupied with flat or sphere, young or old, day-age theory, literal or figurative. Those preoccupations are not driven and governed by the implication that a Christ-centered apologetic, which is what IamKoine.org is, and it's certainly not according to a Christ-centered hermeneutic, which is what historical holistic hermeneutic is, and it's certainly not in the spirit of what we historically know the Missionary Baptist Seminary, for example, in Little Rock, Arkansas, is about the proper place of Christ throughout all of creation. So this is a response if you want something that's irrefutable, that places you in a conversation at the level of anyone, including this very high-level website, Jews for Judaism, and I'm certainly admire them. It's nice to have a formidable foe. Often we just we just run into people who just, their apologetic is that's just what they believe, and it's only because that's what they were told, which was only supported by their willingness to receive a lunch that was purchased for them by the person who told them. So for whatever social currency people in very small groups gain by their willingness to associate with each other, a study recently came out saying that people considered themselves smart with only the need of determining that someone agreeing with them. So I thought, how sad. And in a field of apologetics, like the science of hermeneutics, what's at stake is a greater implication than simply the secondary matters with which so many are preoccupied. So This is a response to Jews for Judaism, the divine ratio, and you can look at these, the Bible Doctrine of Time, and the research, guided research that Dr. Penn guided his students, myself, and Eddie Johnson specifically. And then you can look at the first Adam and the planet Earth. That's a PDF. You can also look at the Historical Holistic Hermeneutic textbook. There's several things on the websites, and they're available. But if you want to contend on a level that will hold and place you where you have credibility, reliability, and you are actually demonstrating something that proves the Bible without getting into, is you'll find they go to great lengths about language, which is wonderful. But the numbers in the Bible are languages, and since when you read the Bible in Hebrew and in the Koine Greek or in the Koine Old Testament, you'll be reading letters which communicate the numbers. So you are using the language when you use the numbers, and you are using science that was produced. It's a branch of theology, and you are irrefutably demonstrating Jesus the Christ from the Scriptures, and you can do that with confidence. You can get your own pencil and paper out and do the arithmetic yourself, and even defend Christ in face of a global initiative called Jews for Judaism .org. So without any discouragement, without any doubting, or with any, you don't even have to fear that you're asserting something that could later be debunked, or someone could show you where you made an error. The arithmetic is too easy, the science is too formidable, and the Scriptures are absolutely inspired and do not contradict. So have a blessed day, and apologize. That is, give a rationale and a defense for Christ and his relationship to creation and who he really is, the Messiah, worthy of our support, belief, and proclaim him and disciple anyone who rejects Jesus as the Messiah. And you have a blessed day.